Hi, Al. On
Hello.
behalf of the De Pere Historical Society, we're really happy that you agreed to come speak with us for an oral history. And we'll start with your name.
My name is Alwyn Mertz. I'm 99 years old, and I moved to De Pere in 1963, and I lived there until 7 years ago.
And what do you remember about De Pere in the 60s that you could tell us?
Oh, gee, I wouldn't know how to start it.
Do you remember the drive-in?
Oh, yes, I remember when the drive-in was built. Um, we had a house at Terre-de-Lac, and I remember driving past there when they were when they were building the new um, the
Drive-in?
drive-in. No, they were tearing down the drive-in,
Oh,
and
right.
they were building the shopping center. Yes, and I remember as a child too when they built the theater up there, and I remember as a child walking in and sitting on the gravel behind it in the back and watching the movie from just sitting on the gravel.
Do you remember from St. Paul's going to the Easter service there, sunrise
Yes,
service?
I do. In fact, I was in the choir, and we sat on top of the projection building, and most of the time it was so windy that when we sang, it was kind of even hard for the people to understand what we were singing because of the wind.
What do you remember about Manchester Road?
Well, I remember that it was a gravel road, and it was only 2 lanes, and it was seldom traveled. There were very few cars.
And where did you go to school?
I went to school at St. Paul's for the first 3 years, and then I went to Adams School at Ballas and Clayton Road. As a child, I walked from Conway and Ballas the 3 miles to De Pere for school.
Do you remember any stores on Manchester Road?
Stores, I certainly do. I remember the grocery store at south west corner, and it was Haney's grocery store, and next door to it was a tavern, and I've been trying to remember the name of the person that had it. I don't recall at the moment, but then next on the west side of it was a small little building. I think it was once probably a feed store or something, but it was made into a barber shop, and it was owned by Les Price, and I used to go there for the haircuts. And west of that was a filling station owned by Pete Mertz, who is my cousin. And later...
What can you tell us about that gas station?
Well...
What was your cousin's name who owned it?
Paul Mertz, we called him Pete.
Okay.
And he lived on Ballas about... I think 4 houses from Manchester Road on the west side of Ballas. And after my uncle retired from teaching at St. Paul's, he was a teacher there. He built a house next door to his for my uncle, and then later than that, between those two houses, one of my aunt's house was built there. So there were 3 relatives right in a row right there.
Al, where did you live in De Pere?
I lived on Bansbach, right next door to the Berringers.
Oh, next door to Rob. Mm-hmm.
Well, what did you do for a living?
Originally, when I was out of school, I worked for Missouri Pacific Railroad, and I worked there for 7 years. It was in the Missouri Pacific building at 13th and Olive. And after working there for about 5 or 6 years, I went to beauty school at night, and after 7 years of working at the Missouri Pacific, I started hairdressing, and I worked as a hairdresser until I was 73 years old when I retired.
Where was your business?
I started in Clayton working for a man by the name of Irwin, and then I opened a shop on Brentwood Boulevard between Clayton Road and Highway 40, and I was there for pretty many years, and somebody came along and asked if he could buy the place, and we decided that we'd sell it, and then I moved to Tommy's on Clayton Road in Ladue, and I worked there for 21 years, and then he moved to Florida, so then I worked at La Chateau for Pearson's for 2 or 3 years until I retired.
Now, when you worked at Missouri Pacific Railroad, how did you get around? How did you get to work?
The first year or so, I had a cousin who worked downtown and rode downtown with my cousin, and then I bought a car and I drove down, and I parked on the street downtown, which is hard to believe, but I parked on the street until I think I parked on the street for 5 years, and then they had a time limit, so then I had to use a parking lot, and I used a parking lot for the last 2 years.
Now, your house on Bonsbach, did you buy that property from the Deutschmans?
I don't really know. Actually, I looked at a house for sale in that subdivision, and the man that was showing the house said, well, we have a lot that we could build a house for you on. So I'm not even sure actually if this real estate man owned the lot, or I can't say. I don't really know.
Yeah, when you lived on Bonsbach, where did you shop? What grocery store did you go to?
I went to Schnucks in De Pere most of the time, and then after the other grocery store opened up there, I'd go there once in a while, but I preferred the Schnucks store.
Do you remember any farms around Manchester and Ballas when you were young?
Manchester and Ballas farms? No. Well, the Kaiser's farm, I remember it, and that's where the big office building is now.
Edward Jones, right?
Yes.
It's the Kaiser farm.
I bet you remember the Village Bar.
I certainly do. In fact, I went to grade school with the owner of it for a short time, and it was Shinzing, George Shinzing, and I'm trying to recall. I think I was trying to remember the name of the people that owned it before he did. I'll eventually think of it.
It's flipped hands over time quite a bit.
Pardon me?
It's changed owners
Oh,
quite a bit
yes.
over times, but it's still in operation.
Yes. Well, next door to it was a house too that was owned by Schumacher, but I can't recall his name. But I know he had a daughter by the name of Ruth, and she also went to school with me.
Do you remember De Pere Park?
Oh yes.
Growing up?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, it was very handy because the park was actually catty corner across from my house. So all we had to do was walk across the road and we were in the park. And we used the park an awful lot. We'd make our tour around the whole park. And we enjoyed that a lot.
Did you have any brothers or sisters growing up?
I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I was the middle of the 2.
Okay.
And the youngest one was 8 years younger than me, and she's still living, but all the rest have passed on.
Do you remember West County when it first opened? Did you shop there?
We shopped there a lot, and we walked there after I retired. We walked there almost every day. We'd make a tour.
Was your church St. Paul's?
Yes.
Were you active at the church?
I did. I was. Yes. I was on the finance board, and I sang in the choir, and
Do you recall a gentleman by the name of Steve Hoyt?
I certainly do.
He's our neighbor.
Who's our neighbor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
He said to tell you hi.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh. What did people do for entertainment when you were young in De Pere?
Well, we'd play games, and that's about all I could remember that we did.
Probably played outside a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, especially living close to the park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Al, do you remember anything on the west side of De Pere across from 270, Highway 270? Like the Linderman Farm or the Luigi Restaurant, places like that?
Yes, I remember Luigi's. It was on the south side of Manchester.
Right.
And I was pretty young, so I can't say too much about it, but I do remember it being there. And on the north side, I remember one of the Haney's had a grocery store, and I can't recall what his first name was. They called him Rip, but I can't recall offhand what his real name was. And when the Highway 270 was built, why that took part of his property and Haney property where they had their farm.
The farm. Did you walk most places as a kid?
I did, yes. There weren't many places to go to where I lived, so there were no places to go, really. Unless we'd want to walk 3 miles. It would either be De Pere or or Creve Coeur. There were no entertainment places or anything to do, so we just sort of played, you know, in our own yard. There were very few children around too, because there weren't many houses. And St. John's Hospital was not there. It was an apple orchard.
Oh.
It was owned by Mr. Bovard, and he was the editor of the Post-Dispatch, and he's the man that owned that property where the hospital is.
Do you remember going to get apples there?
Oh yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Were you ever involved in city politics in De Pere at all?
No, I was not. No.
How did your family move to De Pere area, do you think?
Well, my family didn't move to De Pere. It just me.
You did.
Yes.
Okay.
My family, my father's family owned the property from Ballas Road west past 270, and it was a farm, the Mertz farm. And that's where my grandfather lived.
Did you ever work on the farm?
I did not. No.
How many children did your grandparents have?
4. They had 3 boys and a girl.
And your father was one of the boys.
He was the youngest of the boy. There were the boys, and the girl was the youngest. No, I take that back. My dad was the youngest of all,
okay.
And his sister was the one just older than him. The other 2 were
And what was your dad's name, Al?
Arthur,
Oh, there's an Arthur too.
and they called him Jim.
Why did they call him Jim?
Well, they called him Jim because they had a visitor at their house at one time, and they just said, well, hi, Jimmy, you know, and that's how it started, and they just started calling him Jim after that.
Is your name Alfred or
Alwyn.
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 Did you remember having many German traditions in your family?
No, not really.
Or foods?
If it was, I didn't know it, you know, that it was German.
Right. So the Mertz farm, do you think your grandfather had that for a long time?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did your father work on the farm also?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
My father was a mechanic.
Okay. Seemed like there were a lot of farms around there.
It was all farms. There was nothing else out there.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about your time in De Pere? A story or something you remember?
Let me think.
You think about that. Let me ask you, how long were you married to your wife?
70 years.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
And how many children again?
I had 2 children, 2 daughters.
So you lived on Bonsbach for a long time.
Yes.
That was your only house?
No, when we were first married, I lived in Kirkwood for
Okay.
3 years. And then we moved to Manchester. We lived there 7 years. And then we built the house in De Pere.
Well, I'm glad you moved to De Pere.
Well, I am too. I like De Pere.
Yeah. So there weren't many houses around where you lived really on Bonsbach originally.
There, the Behringer house was not there when we moved in there, but all the other houses were there.
Were there. Okay. What year was that about?
I think it was in 1963, I think.
Okay.
Oh, the houses past Behringer's, those weren't there.
Right.
I don't recall even what year they were built, but it was a number of years though after we lived there.
Did you attend a high school?
I went to Eureka High School.
Okay, Al. Is there something else you want to tell us about your time growing up in De Pere?
I'm trying to think what there'd be. Not that I can think of offhand.
Okay, how did you meet your wife?
That was in De Pere as well.
Okay.
I knew people from the orphan home, and the one he was boy then. A boy there was went to Lutheran high school at Lake and Waterman. They took the children from the orphan home. They drove them to the Lutheran high school, and my wife went to school there. And when the orphan home had a picnic, they have a picnic there every summer, and I was at the picnic, and my father-in-law at that was a delegate for the orphan home, and they attended the picnic there, and I met her at that picnic, and I was introduced by Sid Purdy, who was a resident at the home, and he married my wife's sister, and there was another sister. There were 3 sisters, and we introduced the other sister to a second cousin of mine, and they married. So we were very close.
You were. How old were you when you met your? What was your wife's name?
Marilyn.
Marilyn. How old were you when you met Marilyn?
Let me think. 22 or 23.
Okay.
I was 27 when we got married. And she was 20. The pictures are up on the wall there.
Oh, yeah.
On that.
We'll take a look.
On this side, those 2 are my daughters over there. But the sisters and the husbands are on that picture.
I'll go look. So it sounds like you picked a good one.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, 70 years, a long time together. Yeah. So she was from the De Pere
Overland.
also?
She was from Overland.
Overland,
Mhm.
okay. But her father was had something to do with the orphanage home.
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't work there, but he was just like a delegate, you know.
Uh-huh. Right.
He worked for the public service.
Do you remember the orphanage being a lot of children there?
There were a lot of them. In fact, when I was in the grade school there, I can't recall if I was in the 1st grade or 2nd grade, but right in the morning before school started, I remember the orphan home burning, the original home, and that was really something. The whole place burned down.
And then they rebuilt.
Then they rebuilt, and that's the building that's there now.
Now, our city hall.
Which is now the city hall.
Yeah. So when they rebuilt it, was it larger than the first one you remember?
I can't really say.
You were young, yeah.
I was pretty young and I don't recall.
Uh-huh.
But I think they tore part of it off because it was like a T-shaped.
Okay.
And the part that they called the kitchen was built to the north.
Right.
And I think that part was taken off.
Okay. Because there's a building there called the Bakehouse.
Yes. It was, well, it wasn't the bakehouse then. I think it was, what do they call them? Where they process the meat from the butcher.
Oh, there was a smokehouse.
Smokehouse.
Smokehouse also.
And it was a
Right,
smokehouse
house.
originally.
Okay. I wonder how the fire started.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I never did hear.
Right. Yeah. But they rebuilt a beautiful building because it's still there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there was a great big stand to the west of it, between there and Vallis Road. And they'd have picnics and things in there. It was a covered, I think there were several steps you'd go up into it, and it was like a big building. It was open on the sides and a roof on it. They use that a lot for in the summer for things.
So the children that lived there were pretty well taken care of.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I know. My brother-in-law, he had two brothers that also lived there, and they all really liked it. They were well taken care of, and they really enjoyed living there.
So they stayed there through high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. After high school, they'd usually leave. I'm sure some of them probably left before high school, but those that went to high school stayed there through there.
Do you think some of them went to Kirkwood High School, or they all went to the Lutheran High School?
I think they all went to Lutheran High School.
Lutheran High School, okay.
I don't know if before Lutheran High School was there, they could have gone to Kirkwood, but that would have been more earlier than I remember.
Because it was a Lutheran orphanage home, so you would think they would go to
Yes.
the Lutheran High School.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell us, Al?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay. It sounds like you have wonderful memories
I do.
with your lovely wife, Marilyn, and your daughters.
Yeah.
So they grew up in De Pere.
Did your daughters marry?
Both their daughters are married, and
Do you have great grandchildren?
I have 4 grandchildren.
Okay.
And I have 7 great grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations.
6 girls and 1 boy.
There's your legacy.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's your legacy, Al.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for sharing your stories with us and your time.
Well, I hope it was useful to
Oh, very much so, because you go back a very long way,
Mhm.
especially first grade, remembering the fire
you. Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the orphanage home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that there was a automobile dealer at Manchester and Vallis on the south east corner. It was Lair's, Loehr. Ed Lair, I think was his name. He had a daughter named Goldie. I remember going to school with her.
And I don't remember anybody talking about an auto dealer
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah.
I can't remember what dealer it was, what kind of cars he had, but and next to it was on the east side of it was a small, I guess you'd call it a hardware store, and that was owned by Al Hay, Hoeh, and he was a son of one of the ministers at St. Paul's.
Oh, okay.
Then east of that was a home by the name of Dearman, and I think the Dearmans owned the across the road the tavern, and it was a grocery store before it was a tavern.
Well, you have a lot of good memories. You go back very far with your excellent memory that you had, and we appreciate you sharing your story with us. Thank you.